Swear.
So a good day for everybody.
Pretty much, yeah. Except for Mike and us and the listeners. So no, not a good day for anybody, it turns out. So, okay then. I really kept thinking, well, he'll be here in a second. He'll be here in a second. He'll be here in a second. No such luck. Okay, we good?
I think so. As good as we're going to get, let's put it that way.
Exactly. Should we pose for a thumbnail? No, that's Monday Night Magic. I have to do thumbnails the old-fashioned way on this show. Wait, he just said, okay, good. Oh, because I said we're going to start without you. Okay. It's like, it's not good. You're not even on Discord yet. Okay, here we go. Ow, jam. Hello, everyone. And look, I don't even know how to start because we've been waiting for so long. So, hi. I'm Chewy. This is a website. No, wait. This is the Mana Pool number 545. Unlike last week, where I said it was 545, but I was dumb. This week it actually is 545, though I am still dumb. Yes. So, I'm Chewy. We're a little frazzled because just when we were about to start the show, Mike just disappeared and his internet has apparently crapped itself and we don't know what's going on. So we decided to start without him. So yeah, I'm Chewy, the lead dork, and other dorks.
Hey, I'm Brian. I'm the lead Rambler Tangent Master of the group. And I am excited to be here, even if sometimes it almost feels like it's not meant to be. Well, we're here. We're gonna do our thing, and we're gonna make the most of it. Yeah, woo! I miss Mike.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. And we will do our best to persevere and strive on without the beardy man.
I know I should have just introduced you guys for, quickness. Oh yeah, wait a minute. We need to add a 404 to Mike. Boom, there we go. He will be here soon, hopefully. So this week, I apologize. This is almost certainly going to be a short show because we're starting way later than we usually do. But this week, we're going to do another Mythic Conscription. This time for Visions, because we made a decision late last year that from now on, Mythic Conscriptions are just going to be in set order for the rest, so we don't get more and more and more confused. Because when we were bouncing around, we got confused. So apologies, but we were just as confused as you were. Probably more so. So, Mythic Conscription, for those that don't know, if you're just now joining us for the first time or something, is where we go back and look at old sets from before the Mythic rarity. And look at the rares, and try to figure out which of these cards, if any, would be Mythic if Mythic was a thing back then. And sometimes we're good at it, other times we're not. And sometimes the sets are good for it, other times they're not.
Sometimes they're not.
Like if you look at the last two Mythic Conscription episodes, it goes from "This is all terrible," which was that Fallen Empires? I think that was the last one. To Mirage. Mirage actually has cards that we could have this discussion about. Yay!
Yay! So surely this will keep up the trend, right? I mean, we're in Mirage block. There must be some internal consistency thing going on, right? Like quality. Yeah.
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 Maybe. What?
I plead the fifth.
Dirk. Um,
Dirk is wise.
People using words they don't understand. Like fifth. I'm kidding.
For all you international listeners, the fifth is when you you plead the fifth to not say anything to discriminate that might cause you to self-incriminate yourself.
Why
Yes,
is
don't
he the
discriminate
one that
against
is?
yourself.
Why is he the one explaining this?
No.
Because he could do it faster than you could. Let's be real.
Yes,
And I
but
teach people who definitely need to know the Fifth Amendment.
I would take like 5 times as long, and only some of it would be intelligible, but it would be accurate according to State v. whatever I just made up. So,
Oh my God. Okay,
what's the next set?
The next set is the follow-up to Mirage, Visions, which is a small set.
And you can tell.
Oddly enough, is the next to last set before I stopped. The last set that I bought any appreciable amount of.
I remember last time when we did Mirage, it felt like, wow, this is a big set because there were a lot of cards to look at. And now I'm looking at Visions, or to get ready for the set, I was looking at Visions, and I'm like, this is not nearly as many. But maybe that just means there's less chaff and more just good stuff.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
I would like to think so. May I think so, please? Pretty please? So.
Yeah, maybe for now.
Alright, so we should go in color order. So
Wait a minute, let's see here. So Visions released February 3rd, 1997. Okay, at the time of its release, Visions was a first in the release of quality cards at the common level. And the examples, I'm on the Gamepedia page, the wiki page for Visions. The examples are Octavia Orangutan and River Boa. River Boa was brilliant at common. It was a 2-1 for 2 with Island Walk and pay a green to regenerate. This card was busted at common. The start of increasing the speed of red decks, because Fire Blast was common. You know, that makes sense.
That actually makes a lot of sense, yes. And
Visions was the first set to introduce the color-appropriate text boxes to non-basic lands capable of producing single colors of mana. Oh! Well, that's cool.
Neat.
That's all that I'm seeing here, though. So nothing like last time we said that Mirage was the first set built with sealed in mind. I was hoping there was something like that. Here, there is not. Oh, this was the first time we saw that charms. Hey, there you go. Look at that. Right? These are the first charms?
Yeah.
Or were there charms in the... I think there were charms in the previous set, actually. Yes, thank you, chat. I don't care what the Visions copyright says. The set was released in 1997. I can't even get away from being well actually to even in my own chat.
I could start throwing out will actuallys if it would make you feel better.
You
can't even get away from it on your own show.
Yeah. Everywhere I'm Googling, it says that date, so there you go.
Everywhere I'm Googling.
But anyway, so I was hoping to find something in there, but I did not. So let's go into the set. Oh, wait, Mike just replied. Internet won't cooperate. Like how I censored that?
Yes, that was very tactful. I'm sure no one over 5th grade could really tell what you were actually saying.
No, not at all. Okay, so we're in white in Visions.
We are.
What do we have here?
I've got Eye of Singularity, and this one, I think, when I started with white, I saw Eye of Singularity, and I'm like, maybe this won't be so bad. We'll get to the other colors later, but Eye of Singularity. I'm going to go and pull up the Oracle text here, just so it's a little easier to understand. For 3 and a white, it is a world enchantment. When Eye of Singularity enters the battlefield, destroy each permanent with the same name as another permanent, except for basic lands. They can't be regenerated. Whenever a permanent, excuse me, whenever
This set is boring.
It's been a long day. Whenever a permanent other than a basic land enters the battlefield, destroy all other permanents with that name. They can't be regenerated. You might say you bury them.
So this was... I think
Ley
this was
line
how the
of
legend rule
singularity.
worked at the time.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. I think so.
So whenever you played a new legend, your stayed and the old one died, I think was the legend rule at that time.
I think so. Although I remember that when Mercadian Masks and Masks Block came out, a lot of standard at that time was who can play Lin Civi first. So I know at least at that point.
Oh, so no, maybe.
But I don't know if it changed in the interim.
No, I think you're right. When you played a legend and there was already one out, it didn't matter. Yours died. Okay, so this is not the way the legend rule worked at the time, because that's the way it was for the vast majority of the time.
This was the anti-legend rule thingamabob.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is more along the line of Leyline of Singularity?
Yeah.
Yeah, which could very well be a nod to this card. So there you go.
Maybe. Wait,
so I mean, you get the idea. It makes every non-land permanent, except for not even non-land, non-basic land. Notice that this can actually hit non-basic lands. So anybody with their set of dual lands might find themselves with some trouble. So I feel like it could be Mythic because it's a big effect that affects the way the game plays, and it has this almost epic feel to it. Oh, now everything all of a sudden is, while it isn't how Legendary played at the time, you get the sense of everything is legendary to some extent. So
sort of, yeah.
Yeah, sort of. That, and while this isn't the only factor,
there's not much else going on.
There's not much else going on in white.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other contenders in white whatsoever?
No. Like, so in white, we've got a massively expensive Sarah Angel with +1/+1 and Archangel.
Woo!
We've got a conditional Wrath, which is neat, but not Mythic.
Yeah.
We've got a one-shot land tax in Tithe.
Yep.
Which, while still really good, is not Mythic because it's a one-shot.
Yeah.
You've got Zalfiran Crusader, which is...
No! I mean, I'm sorry. No.
No, you were right the first time, yeah. I think the only one that's possible, really, I think, is Equipoise.
Which I looked at Equipoise.
That was the other one I had thought.
Yeah, so for 2 and a white, it's an enchantment, not an enchant world. At the beginning of your upkeep, for each land target player controls in excess of the number you control, choose a land that player controls. What? Oh, okay, for each land. Okay, so essentially, everyone loses lands that are more than yours, except that you don't lose them, they phase out.
Yeah.
And then you repeat this process for artifacts and creatures. So while they essentially lose them because they're by the time you come back to your turn, you're just going to phase them out again. Like, it's not as awful, but maybe it is.
Maybe, kind of, sort of. I don't know. I think...
I don't remember how phasing works. Like, when did things phase back in? Is it the beginning of your turn?
Yeah.
Because if so, that means they get them back.
They phase in before the player untaps during their next untap step.
So it's basically just for your turn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's reminder text here. Thank you, Dirk. While they're phased out, they're treated as though they don't exist. They phase in before that player untaps during the next untap step. So, yeah, that just means during your turn, you get to relieve them of some of their stuff, but then they get it back when their turn starts. So...
Yeah.
Meh?
And the thing about this, it has to be an opponent, doesn't it? For it to actually be useful.
I don't understand the question.
I don't even...
What I'm saying is that you could phase creatures that have, when they enter the battlefield, effects.
Phasing doesn't trigger those
Doesn't
anymore.
trigger.
Phasing doesn't know.
And even when it was printed, it would only cause leaves the battlefield. Wait, no.
Doesn't matter. You'll just confuse yourself. Doesn't matter. It used to trigger some stuff, and now it doesn't.
Okay.
But yeah, you have to. It says you have to choose stuff that player controls.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go, hey, a total of 4 more creatures than I have, so I'm going to phase out all of Dirk's creatures. Ha ha ha! Because that's not the equal part of equipoise. So yeah, but this one's a second, I think.
It is a second,
Yeah.
But not a close second.
Because if it phased them out for a whole turn, that would be mythic.
Possible.
I'll tell you what. If we can make it a blue card, it'll be the blue mythic by a landslide. By a landslide.
Are you saying the Chronotog isn't up there?
Oh God. All right, let's.
That was the one that at very very beginning before we even started recording, or that was the one I laughed at and thought, that's terrible.
Well, shall we move to blue?
Yeah, let's go to blue. So yeah, the Chronotog eats. So you remember the Atogs, right? Atogs ate things. The original 8 artifacts. And they had this great idea to make more Atogs that ate things. So they made the Chronotog that eats time.
It's a cool concept.
Yeah, but you only get +3/+3.
Well, to be fair, at the time, creatures were not the size they are today. But even still,
I love the use this ability only once each turn, so you didn't go Chronotog, attack.
I'm gonna give up the next 5 turns.
Like, oh, you don't block? Okay, I'll give up my next. Let's see here, 9 turns and kill you. I win. What?
In response, I bounce it to your hand.
All right, you win. Next game.
But yeah, they had to include that there, because otherwise, yeah.
People would abuse it.
Well, yeah,
for obvious reasons.
Well,
just the way Chewie just said.
Yeah. So, it should be noted that Prosperity here was originally an uncommon, so just ignore that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Oh, I really like Prosperity, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's...
No.
I don't think it's mythic.
And I don't...
Nah.
I don't think that Desertion is mythic, because it's a counterspell. It's a counterspell with an upside.
Yeah,
but...
it's a control magic with really narrow timing restrictions that can also occasionally stop spells. But if you're spending 5 mana to counter a spell, you're probably not in the best spot anyway.
when counterspell, like the counterspell, was around, not to mention some of the other ridiculous stuff that they had.
Yeah.
5 mana just feels like a lot. It might be tremendously good in certain circumstances, but...
Oh, I forgot it grabs artifacts, too. That's neat.
Oh. Yeah, I think yeah. I think most of the time when we see it, it's grabbing a creature, but...
So then... Like, Flooded Shoreline is not mythic.
No.
Rainbow Efreet is not rare.
Rainbow Efreet for 3 and a blue. It's a 3/1 with flying. It's an Efreet. And you can pay 2 blue to make it phase out, which is good for dodging removal. I guess. I mean, think of it this way. One of the reasons Morphling was so popular is because you could never kill the dang thing. So,
True,
but
but while you were never killing it,
still-
it was still hitting you in the face.
yes, that's
Whereas Rainbow
that's true.
Freed is like, I'm gonna get you. Oh, dodge. And when it dodges, it disappears.
I'll get you next time. What do you mean we're dead in the meantime, boss? Now, what? I'm going to skip to Fairy's Realm. 3 Wishes is basically like a red draw spell these days. You look at what it does. This is how red draws cards. I'm going to look at the Oracle text. For 1 and 2 blue, it's an instant. Exile the top 3 cards of your library face down. You may look at those cards for as long as they remain exiled. Until your next turn, you may play those cards. At the beginning of your next upkeep, put any of those cards you didn't play into your graveyard. This is what red does to draw cards these days. And that's neat.
Yeah, what's the new one that I can never remember the damn name of? That's not Skewer the Critics.
Light the Stage.
Yeah, light up the stage says exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. It's the same thing.
So same thing, except this is one of the ones where you actually have to play it before your next turn. You don't actually get through your next turn. Which, as Light Up the Stage has pointed out to me, there's a significant difference. Because somebody played one against me the first time and exiled 2 cards that they probably would have wanted to have. I'm like, haha. And then they untapped and played them, and I'm like, oh, that's so much better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
This here, you're spending 3 mana for a very similar effect. You're basically spending 3 mana to draw 3 cards that you can only use right now. And that's fine.
Well, I mean, if you manage to get a counterspell with that, and your opponent doesn't know, which is a good
It is face down.
Extra bit because it's face down. But
it's not mythic.
Yeah, it's not mythic. It's just one of those weird red, like you said, a red draw spell, essentially. So yeah, Teferi's Realm is about the only thing we've got.
Yeah. So what's
And that's
Teferi's Realm do?
Yeah, Dirk, what's Teferi's Realm do? You're so smart.
So for 1 and 2 blue, it's a world enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses artifact, creature, land, or non-aura enchantment. All non-token permanents of that type phase out. And that's it.
I mean,
There's
you say
reminder text, but that's essentially it.
well, that's a fairly potentially powerful effect, except that they have so many choices. So many. So, I mean, yes, you can make opponents' stuff be exiled if you want, or phase out if you want. But more importantly, this card may just sit there and not do anything. Like, at all. But it's probably, in this set, and with these other cards as competition, and given that you're probably going to have mythics in every color, because a set where you just didn't have a blue mythic these days would feel really weird and really out of balance. This would probably be because what else are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, and
So-
this is a very powerful effect and will definitely change the flow of the game for sure.
That's true.
Because it's each player. So even in a 2-player game, if one person chooses creatures and the other person chooses artifacts, you guys aren't really doing much, are you?
No.
Although whatever you choose, your opponent gets back at the beginning of their turn, which is again one of the downsides of this type of effect.
Yeah.
But whatever they choose doesn't come back until theirs doesn't come back until their turn. So it's this weird,
Flip-floppy thing.
yeah, it's this weird balancing act where you're just trying to. It reminds me of playing against an opponent with in Hearthstone with an Azalina Soul Thief in their hand, while you also have one in your hand. Azalina Soul Thief says, replace your hand. It's a creature with a battle cry that says, replace your hand with a copy of your opponent's hand. So if you play your Azalina and your opponent has one in their hand, That means forever you two will be swapping the same hand back and forth and back and forth and back and forth because now you both have one, and there's really no way to get rid of it. And that feels like a similar sort of thing where you're trying to plan like 8 moves ahead, and okay, so he's gonna do this. So if I do this now, then he'll do that. But then on my turn, I can do that, which means on his turn he'll do this, and then in that turn, haha! Like it's a nightmare.
That sounds like it makes me want to punch my TV. And I'm not even playing using my TV. I need to get up from my computer, walk to the TV, and punch it. That's how annoying that would be.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, that's a thing. And because of that, I think it's probably the only real close to a mythic thing we have.
Probably the best shot we got.
Yeah, because the rest is just really not. It's just, like, they might make... So coming at it from a different angle, it's possible that Chronotog could be a mythic just because of...
What it is.
And what it does. Not because of power level, but because that's an effect.
It eats your turn. Oh my god. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like that's not an effect they want at uncommon, let's say.
True.
But it depends on where they were on Mythic. Because we got bad Mythics, early in the life cycle of the Mythic rarity. But you don't really get bad Mythics anymore.
Not as much because, they help sell the set. And people have access to the list for the set. And if people are like, well, what are you pulling this set for? And you're like, oh, I really want that Rainbow of Freet. It's really going to go in my deck. No, that's really not happening. So if you don't have good mythics, or if people, worse yet, if you have bad mythics, and you're telling people, hey, this can be in your mythic slot, people are going to be like, yeah, no, okay, I'll see you next set.
Sorry, I guess we fooled around in blue long enough. Let's go to black.
Right.
Now, before we start, I want to say, I really like pretty much all of these cards.
Yeah. They're all good cards.
Like, I think I own at least one of all of these, except for Vampiric Tutor, or at least I did at one point.
Didn't you kill somebody one time with a Caravex Spite?
Yup. I think it was Corey.
I think you did. I think he got so mad.
He did. He was not a happy Corey when Caravex Spite killed him. So Caravex Spite for black is an instant that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice all permanents you control and discard your hand. Target player loses 5 life. So essentially...
I'm sorry. I'm good.
Essentially, this is a last-ditch effort
to spite someone.
Yeah, to murder someone out of spite and hope that it kills them, otherwise you are screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's it.
Yeah, I pulled it off one. I took it out of the deck not long after that because it was in an extremely early version of what we now know as the graveyard deck. But
just picture Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm putting all my faith in this last card.
And then the other goes, "Oh, I've never seen that card before." I'm like, okay. Did you not read the set? It came out like 3 weeks ago. Anyway.
Shh. In the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe, literally only one person has ever seen this particular card and knows what it does.
So, while it could be that this is Mythic just on sheer silliness, I doubt it.
No.
But I do love this card.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason Kervik is the Merciless, damn it.
So, I really personally like Pillar Tombs of Aku. From Samurai Jack. This is great. For
Yeah,
2 and
yeah.
2 black, it's a world enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may sacrifice a creature. If that player doesn't, they lose 5 life, and you sacrifice Pillar Tombs of Aku. This came out after the Abyss, right?
Yeah, the
because
Abyss was way
yeah,
old.
yeah. So this is like a more fixed version of the Abyss because you can always just say, I don't want to lose any creatures. I'll just pay the life and get rid of it. Um, Assuming they have 5 life to lose. So I think it's neat. I think it harkens back to the Abyss, which is a fairly infamous card. But, you know, it's. I wasn't playing at the time. Is it really considered that good?
No, because as Stark just said in the chat, I'll just take a lava axe.
Yeah.
Because essentially you're hoping to lose some creatures or to kill some creatures with it, but more often than not, it's pay 4 to make someone lose 5 life.
That's kind of what I figured. So, my problem with the black is similar to problems we've been seeing so far. It's like, hey, it's a good card, but where's the mythic here?
Yeah, like I think Aku Jin would probably be the mythic.
I think it could be. I mean, at the time, this seems pretty ridiculous, and all you need to do is control the board, which black loves to do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that big of a downside.
So it's 3 black for a 5/6 Jin with trample. So 5/6 for 5 back at this point is just nuts.
Yeah.
But then it says, during your upkeep, each opponent puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature he or she controls.
But like we said, you're in black. Just kill the creature. I mean, I realize it's not that easy.
So Mike just said, something's wrong. I need to get with his ISP. Might not make it back tonight. So he's having actual issues tonight. He's not just... Like, it's not a Discord issue. It's an internet issue. So that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. Akujin is the big, like, control deck beater. Where you're playing... clear the board, boom, drop the big guy, start swinging. It's got trample, so anything they drop, it's eventually going to get eaten by the Jin, or they're going to get eaten by the Jin, so they're going to have to block it, but it's got trample, so they're still going to take some chip damage. Yeah, I'm trying to put myself back in that old school mindset. But even so, there was Boomerang. But you're just going to play it back next turn. And then it'll get hit with desertion. And now your opponent has to watch your stuff get bigger. Ha! I don't know. But yeah, as essentially the big demon in the set, this could have been.
It could have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it unleash an unspeakable evil?
Maybe?
I'm sorry. I just love Samurai Jack, so I'm done.
I mean, yeah, you do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, hey, Dirk, what do you think?
I agree.
The
only one is obviously Vampiric Tutor. But was it really as well known then?
Yes. The Vampiric Tutor was one of the selling points
For this
of the set because we had the other 3 tutors in the last set. And then this one was an instant. And yeah. We knew
the other
Vampiric
choices.
Tutor back then.
The Akujin is the better of the other choices.
Yeah. But I still don't know if Vampiric Tutor would have been mythic back then.
Question mark. Yeah.
Like,
Would it be? Vampire Tutor is one of these weird cards where I could almost see it being mythic now,
Oh well, yeah, it would totally be mythic
but
now.
would it have been mythic at the time? I don't
Because
know if they
what?
realized how good it was.
See, I kind of think it would have been because last time we did, it was Mirage. The night, the spirit,
What?
spirit of the night.
Oh, okay.
But because you needed the components in order to play the spirit of the night, right?
Oh, you didn't need
Vampire
it. That
Tutor
was
would have
just...
been one of the ways you would have gotten the components.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So if you were going to do your win condition, Vampiric Tutor would have been the thing that would have gotten you your win condition under any circumstance. So I do kind of think that it would have been mythic.
I might have to go with Dirk on this one.
You know, we did just get done saying that mythics are part of what sells the set, and this was used
Yeah.
to sell the set back then.
Was it on packaging?
Well, I don't know if it was actually used by Wizards to sell the set, but like Inquest was like, "Oh my God, did you see this?"
Inquest sold it, if nothing else. Because I don't think back then, did they actually put creature cards on packaging?
Oh yeah.
They did?
Oh yeah.
Because my vague memory of back in that time was that there was like a uniform, this is what all the packaging came in. And that there, but again, that might have been my memories of the core sets back long ago.
At least I think did it. Hang on. Visions packaging MTG. Visions. Yeah. Like there's a picture of a booster here on the Gamepedia page with the art of something. I don't know what, but it's definitely card art.
Okay.
That's what I thought, but I had to go double check.
So
Oh yeah, I think that was Teferi's puzzle box. Thank you, Stark.
So Vampiric Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, and Akujin, perhaps.
Yeah.
We're thinking,
Yeah.
I really
The
like
other step-
Necrosavant.
but it's not mythic.
It's not mythic, but it is a
Yeah.
big beefy thing that
That
they
has a
can't
hard
kill.
time. Yeah,
But it takes 5 mana and a sacrifice and is only during your upkeep. And also it's so it's a 5/5. Wait, is its type really still Necrosavant? No, now it's a zombie giant. Okay, there we go. It's a 5/5 for 3 and 3 black. And it says 3 black, sacrifice a creature, return Necrosavant from your graveyard to the battlefield only during your upkeep. So that's fairly limited. And can't attack that turn. You have to wait a full turn. Yeah, that's not mythic.
I say the 3 black and then the 2 black and the ability. That definitely makes it very unversatile. Like you have to be solidly in black for that.
Well, for a thing that constantly recurs itself, yeah, you would have to be. Unless you're playing Nether Shadow. Ha 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 ha! Sorry, I'm sorry. Alright, so red?
so red.
Oh god, red.
So green. I okay, so straight off the bat, not Relentless Assault. That's pretty well set as a rare ability.
These days, this was the
days.
first time this happened.
Was it the first time it happened?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, well, for a really easy no Lightning Cloud. Like,
Yeah, Lightning Cloud is a nah.
yeah. Lightning Cloud for 3 and a red has an Oracle text. For 3 and a red, it's an enchantment. Whenever it's a player. Okay, well, that's a little better than I thought, but still.
Yeah.
Whenever a player casts a red spell, you may pay red. If you do, Lightning Cloud deals 1 damage to any target. So you're adding red to each spell you cast to ping something for 1, or you can keep it up when somebody else is playing, I don't know, red spells.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super conditional applying to anybody else. You got to keep mana up to use it. I don't know if it's the worst red rare, because if you can manage to stick it, you can, and you have a lot of spells to play, cheap spells, that's not bad, but it's not mythic.
Yeah, no, it's just a red chip damage thing.
Yeah. Ogre Enforcer, no, it's just a red beefy guy.
That's hard to kill, but
It's hard to kill, but
so Kukas,
still,
no.
Kukas, no.
Hmm.
It's kind of neat, the synergy with a Keeper of Kukas, but not enough payoff. And
It's got a big butt and not a big. What's the other one?
front.
Front. Yeah. My arms. What was it? What was the attack?
I don't know. We just always refer to toughness as ass. I don't think we really
haven't really
put a body
addressed
part
the
on that.
front.
Yeah.
It's got little
Yeah.
arms but a big butt.
Yeah, there we go.
So that leaves Relentless Assault, Elkin Lair, which is weird and interesting, but may not be mythic. It may just be weird red rare, because that's a thing. And the Bogarden Phoenix, which this may have been the first Phoenix in the game.
No,
No, what was the first Phoenix?
I don't know, but there was a phoenix of some sort in one of the early core sets.
Sure about that.
Phoenix of Nunya.
Yeah, the Firestorm Phoenix was in Legends.
Okay.
So that predates it.
Okay.
Huh, looks like that was the only one before it, though. But
Well, what's the Firestorm do?
the Firestorm, if it would die, it returned to its owner's hand instead. Until that player's next turn, that player plays with that card revealed in their hand and can't play it because it has to incubate. Yeah, we talked about this when we did
That's right.
when we did Legends.
Well, so this is the first Phoenix then that when it dies, it comes right back once. All right, so let me go ahead and read this.
There you go.
So for 2 and 3 red, for 2 generic and 3 red, it is a Phoenix. It's a 3/3 with flying, and when it dies, exile it if it had a death counter on it. Otherwise, return it to the battlefield under your control and put a death counter on it. So it actually comes back for free the very first time. And it doesn't even go to your hand. It goes directly to the battlefield. I looked at this and I thought, well, that's kind of clunky because you can only do it once. But most Phoenixes return to your hand. Or if they return to the battlefield, you have to meet some kind of trigger, like playing instants and sorceries or activating whatever the mechanic is for the set, you know? This actually just comes back for free one time. And if you have a way to like bounce it or remove the counter, which there weren't a bunch of at the time, but still.
Wouldn't phasing have done that?
God, Dirk, stop asking phasing questions without Mike here. Oh, I feel dumb. I miss Mike. I don't. Does phasing remove counters? I don't know. Chewy?
Don't look at me, man.
Huh.
Not that it matters.
Okay. All right. That's anyway. You know what? The more I had a question mark next to this, but you know what? I think this is going to be my vote for Mythic, the Bogarden Phoenix. I believe in it. It's a solid contender. It's gonna do great things. It's a Mythic, as far as I can tell.
Pinball Edge claims that phasing didn't remove counters then and still doesn't.
Okay. All right.
I say Elkin Lair reminds me of Three Wishes.
Well, what's it do?
The Elkin Lair?
Yes.
Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player exiles a card at random from their hand. That player may play that card this turn. At the beginning of the next end step, if the player hasn't played the card, they put it into their graveyard.
That's an interesting little kind of like mess with you card, because either you can't cast the card, so it's just gone, or you're going to try to cast it, but it's going to mess up what else you were going to do with your turn. it also affects you. It doesn't just affect the opponents. So I kind of feel like it falls into the just weird red rare category, you know?
Yeah. I don't think it's mythic,
No.
but I agree that it's one that just sort of says, I'm gonna throw something out to start creating
Messing
some
with
havoc.
people? Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a quintessential red card of, I'm gonna put this out and we're gonna make the game interesting. Like blue makes the game interesting by, let's do all this stuff because it helps, and in the end it helps me get to my ends
You
and goals.
know,
Red is sort of like, I'm gonna do this and let's see how the cards fall.
I could put Elkin Layers into my Shared Fate deck, and then you slowly
Moving
lose
on to
the
green.
cards from your own hand, and you have to play with other people's decks. That feels just weird.
Note to self: bury Brian in a shallow grave by the railroad tracks.
Note to chat: come look for me by the railroad tracks.
So we could possibly go with the Phoenix, or I'm gonna go with Relentless Assault because this is the first time that they did this effect.
And
it
actually,
was...
I mean, we're used to it now.
oh yeah,
but
totally.
It gives you another part to it repeats a phase of your turn. That, I mean, I can see the novelty there.
Because
So
I don't think the Begarden Phoenix is good or interesting.
I think it's novel and
sort of, yeah.
Yeah. But okay, Begarden Phoenix or Kukas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Kukas isn't even legendary. What the hell?
No, it's not.
What? He has a keeper that keeps him, and he's not legendary. What the hell, Wizards?
Maybe it's like it's a breed or it's a strain of Jhin. Some people keep azaleas, other people keep Kukases.
Kukases. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. We're going to Twitter. Tweet. Hey at Wizards Magic. Make Kukas legendary, you cowards. Tweet. All right, there we go.
The issues that matter.
All right, let's go to green.
2019, how have we not addressed this issue? So we've got a bit of a dispute between the Begarden Phoenix and Relentless Assault. I think we can all agree those are really the only choices.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. All right, so green.
So green. It's also worth noting Summer Bloom was originally an uncommon. Actually, it was an uncommon except in starter 99 in Portal. So that's the only reason it shows up in our rare page here. So just ignore that.
So,
So multicolored.
No, well, I have question marks next to 2. Can you guess what those 2 are?
Natural order and a different one.
You're halfway there, yes. A different one. Well, actually, you're all the way there.
Woohoo!
Natural order and I put City of Solitude, which I think is definitely a rare effect now, but we haven't seen that text on a bunch of cards, and it was on a legendary creature in Kamigawa. So
I don't even know if this is if this is a thing we'd seen before. Let's try wait, let's do an advanced search for rules text only during their own turn. Add search. We get... yeah, this is the first time this ever happened.
All right, then. So let's talk about that one first. So
Portal was after this, right? Portal was...
I missed Mike.
I can't read that. Hey, when was Portal, you guys? Portal.
Pinball Witch says it was after this.
Okay. 98. No. Original Portal was released in May of 97, so it was immediately after this.
Okay.
Huh.
All right. So, City of Solitude for 2 and a green. It's an enchantment. It's not a world enchantment.
No.
Interesting. Which is important because there can only be one world enchantment out at a time, right? There
Correct.
can only be one. Okay. So now it doesn't help to have more than one of this out, but for 2 and a green, players can cast spells and activate abilities. And activate abilities? Does Dosen even say that? Wow. Only during their own turns.
Dosen only affects spells.
This affects abilities as well?
Wow, I missed that too.
Holy cow. I'm gonna, you maybe leave up a Llanowar Elf, and I'm like, okay, during my turn, I'm gonna do the thing and attack. And you're like, in response, I'm gonna tap this guy to make a green. And I'm like, you can't do that at all. Not to mention you can't use the green for anything, but you can't block and then tap your guy to give it +1/+1 or whatever. I'm not saying this is a good card, but I think that it checks the boxes. It has a fundamental shift on the way a game is played. It literally destroys every counterspell.
It also look at the bottom ruling.
Yeah.
That ruling says this stops players from activating mana abilities. Holy crap.
Yeah. Which, how many things do that? They don't.
Like nothing, yeah. Huh, I did not realize that. So that's a possibility.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that one's pretty good. If anything, I think I might place it, given where the state of creatures at the time, above natural order, because the things you're getting out with natural order are not like they are today. Today, natural order is ridiculous. At the time, so I'm actually going with City of Solitude above natural order, but I think natural order is probably in second place. I've talked for a while about City of Solitude. Why isn't somebody else talking about natural order?
Gee, I wonder who that would be.
You talking to me?
Because I'm the only one here.
So natural order for 2 and 2 green. It's a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a green creature. Search your library for a green creature card and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library.
So yeah, you
could sacrifice a Llanowar Elf and throw out.
Yeah, on turn 3, you go forest, tap your 3 forest and your Llanowar Elf. Sacrifice your Llanowar Elf to go get a big ass, and drop it on the battlefield, and then look at your opponent. And that is the most harmless thing you can do with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It does have the restriction of you have to sack a green creature, and you have to get a green creature. So there's no getting, your Juzum Jin. Or...
Yeah, like a... Nowadays, you could go and grab like a Eldrazi or something.
You can't get an Eldrazi. You can't get a... you can get a card that is not only green, but could be other colors as well. So you can get a... who's the annoying Hydra that has protection from everything? Literally. I see it in my head.
Starts with a P.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
that guy.
It's completely fallen off.
Progenitus.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was about to say the deck was Progenitalia, so yes, Progenitus.
So Progenitus is a green creature, but that being said, again, creatures now are much better than they used to be. Can I see Natural Order being a mythic at the time that it was printed?
Yeah,
probably.
Because, like I said, it's possible on turn 3 to get like an 8/8 or something. Which, without a counterspell or a... Not a counterspell for the Natural Order, but without a Dark Banishing, a Terror, or a Bounce spell, like Red just says, well, I guess you win.
Yeah.
Green probably also said that. Well, I guess you win. Unless they had like 2 fogs in hand and the rest of their hand was aggro? Oh.
White is like, here, get some life from the Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, white and black had definite answers. Blue, sorta.
Yeah. In response, I'll have my Crown Tog eat my next turn.
Ha 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 ha! Wait.
Right.
But,
So
and if you look, when they reprinted this in something, it was in Eternal Masters. It was actually a mythic there. But again,
okay.
creatures are just better now.
Yes.
By a lot. By like a lot.
So City of Solitude, Natural Order, pretty sure. Any of these others?
I mean, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katabatic Winds is a obnoxious answer to flying creatures, which is very on flavor for green, but not mythic. Lycanthrope is
a big dumb green creature.
a big dumb green creature that
slowly regenerates, which is kind of cool.
Which is cool, but not mythic. Quirion Druid makes lands into bears.
Yeah.
And then Rowan is it's a conditional draw extra cards in green, which is really good.
Yeah,
but not mythic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Natural Order myself, but I can totally see City of Solitude easily.
Yeah, agreed.
Also, Natural Order has a leopard that has killed a chimpanzee, so your argument isn't valid. Look at the poor dead chimpanzees laying there. What? I've never actually looked at this art before.
Well, the thing was that chimpanzee was originally going after a squirrel, and then the squirrel sacrificed itself so that a leopard would jump out and eat it.
I see what you did there.
It's the circle of life.
Of brutality in nature.
Everything the light touches, we will eat. I mean, nothing. All right, so let's go.
All right, gold.
Gold.
I like gold. I'm sorry, I can't look at Breast Stealer's Crypt without like having an aneurysm because of Mike.
I agree.
And I don't. It's so
Wait,
hard.
was that Mike?
Literally. Yes.
Breast of Crypt?
Breast Stealer's
I
Crypt
thought it was
plus
Corey.
like.
Corey had the crypt.
Corey's the one who had that one.
Yeah, he
I
had the
thought
crypt.
Mike-
What was that other thing? Portcullis.
Yeah.
Because he hated
That
us.
was the thing he had in there, is that you would either have too many or too few, and you kept taking damage and everything.
I'm pretty sure that Mike had this in the deck as well. That really limited how much players would draw every turn, and
Hang on,
But I'm having a hard time separating my personal experience with this card from kind of trying to be abstract with it and like, is it really good or not?
All right, I just texted Mike. Did you use Breath Stealer's Crypt to make us hate you? So yeah. What's Breath
Righteous
Stealer's
Wars.
Crypt do? Breath Stealer's Crypt, for 2, a blue and a black, says, as an enchantment, if a player would draw a card, instead they draw a card and reveal it. If it's a creature card, that player discards it unless they pay 3 life. Mike also responded, yes.
Ah.
I don't think he abused it quite as much as Corey did.
Yeah, I really think that the
Corey's
reason we
the one in
hated
his
it was because
portcullis
of Corey.
deck just
Yeah.
made us hate him.
So yeah, this is a large pain, but I don't know if it's mythic. I just know that it makes me go and want to run across and attack the person who played it,
Yeah,
and not in game, like run across and attack.
it's not mythic in the sense that it changes the game, because I feel like you can use it to to win games and to do all that, but it doesn't. It's a component in the cogs of a machine of a deck that could abuse that this could be in and be effective, but it's not the linchpin that makes the deck work. This just helps speed things along. So I don't think it's Mythic.
Yeah, I'm with Dirk.
Yeah. All right. Another one that I'm having a little hard time with, given the history of the card, is Squandered Resources.
Okay.
Squandered Resources, for those that are not familiar, is for a black and a green, is an enchantment. And at any time you can sacrifice a land to add 1 mana of any type the sacrificed land could produce. What could be so wrong with that?
I don't remember. You said based on the history of the card. I don't remember this one.
Wasn't it in a Prosperous Bloom build that kind of went completely nuts, so crazy?
Oh, was it? I mean, that makes sense. I don't... It doesn't shout Mythic to me at all, though.
I don't think it does. I just thought that it was in a very powerful deck at the time, so you'd go, oh, it must have been really strong, but I think in the abstract, while it has the potential to do sick things, it's based, it can act as a little, dark ritual where you play this on turn 2, you untap, and then on turn 3 you play a land, and then all of a sudden you have access to 6 mana. If you tap your lands for mana and then sack them to this, you may just play something the opponent can't answer. But that's, you have to have the right setup for that. So I don't know that it's necessarily Mythic. I was just saying that I was having a hard time separating it. So what is a card in gold that we do think could be Mythic?
None of these.
Not
Like, I look through all of them, I'm going, no. That's a corner case. No.
Guiding Spirit is
Like,
bad.
Corrosion's a corner case.
Corrosion is the definition of a corner case. It uses rust counters
To destroy artifacts.
very
Eventually.
slowly.
Very slowly.
It has its own cumulative upkeep. And if you lose corrosion before something is destroyed, it's not rusty anymore.
Oh god, look at how big the Oracle text is. So, Corrosion, for 1, a black and a red, has cumulative upkeep of 1 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a rust counter on each artifact target opponent controls. Oh, that's even worse. I thought it was opponents. No. Then, destroy each artifact with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of rust counters on it. Artifacts destroyed this way can't be regenerated, and when Corrosion leaves the battlefield, you remove all rust counters from all permanents. So they don't even stay for you to draw a second copy.
Yeah.
So yeah. This is not this is artifact hate that takes ages to work.
Yeah.
Although, the very next turn you could wipe out all of your opponents', I don't know, Moxen and
Opters.
Soul Rings.
All
Oh, and their
their
Fountain of
are-
Youth.
No, not my Fountain of Youth. Chewie, you were going to say something about Guiding Spirit.
Yeah, Guiding Spirit's just bad. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so
okay, maybe not bad, but it's not Mythic.
what about, seriously, for a second here, what about Solomon's Legacy?
Corner case.
Yes, but in a set where one of the big thematic pushes was Djinns and Afrits. Like, that's like, I'm trying to think of an apt example. It'd be like in Lorwyn printing something that says, when this enters the battlefield, destroy all shapeshifters for the little, like, amphibious guys that could be anything. and then
the changelings.
the changelings, and then whenever a creature with changeling enters the battlefield, destroy it. That feels really oppressive in the environment that it was printed in.
There were like lots and lots of common and uncommon. Like that was a major push in that set. I don't think it was quite so big in this set.
No, but it was linked in fairly flavorfully into the identity of the set.
Holy crap, is that Mike?
Yeah, who knows how
A
long keep working.
challenger has appeared.
Whoa.
Hey, Mike.
What?
We missed you.
The sound of a person who has lost all hope.
Thank you.
Not been a good night, huh, buddy?
Real quick, is Suleiman's legacy mythic?
Gosh, if it wasn't so narrow.
All right.
That's what I said.
What? How could you print this card as anything but narrow? It is okay. I didn't actually read what it does, but this is super oppressive. For a red and a white, it's an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, destroy all djinns and ifrits. They can't be regenerated. And whenever a djinn or ifrit enters the battlefield, destroy it. It can't be regenerated. For 2 mana, if this was any less restrictive, it would be broken in half.
Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah, okay.
Stark, that is brilliant. Stark said, I didn't actually read what it does, but this is super oppressive. Brian, imitating the magic community demanding bans.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So, anyway.
Okay. Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
While we've got you.
Okay.
What we came up with was, I don't remember. I have Singularity in white is the closest we came to a mythic.
Yes. Blue. Either Teferi's Realm.
Sorry, you're going to have to repeat some of that. I made the brilliant decision to try to get the Twitch chat back up, and I lost your voice. What'd you say?
There's your problem. I have Singularity is the closest we could come in white.
That was really the only thing I was going to offer. And it's interesting how it compares to Bazaar of Wonders. Didn't we talk about that last time we did this?
Bazaar. I don't remember.
Right. It basically makes a new legend rule for stuff.
Yeah.
Except without actually using the legend rule.
Right. And then in blue, we had Teferi's Realm and maybe Chronotog because of kind of the uniqueness of what it does.
Yeah, those were the ones that I was going to name.
All
I
right.
think Chronotog is the only rare one of the new ATOGs that showed up in Mirage block. I think the others were uncommon, and I think Auratog and Tempest might have also been uncommon. I don't remember right now.
I think that's right.
In
Excuse me.
black, we had Aku Jin and Vampiric Tutor. Kind of laughed off the others.
Yeah, Kujin because it's the big scary black creature.
I guess, but it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Vampiric Tutor because there's nothing else, and because it was
we need to explain.
It was actually used to market the set, at least by InQuest. I don't remember if Wizards actually did, but
yeah,
Vampiric Tutor makes sense. Instead of picking Akujin for the other possibility, I would have marked Kervek's Spite for the wacky weird.
Which is what I led with.
It's so restrictive. So, and then in red,
essentially it is a spite card. You only use it for the fact of, well, you know what? Screw you, buddy.
Exactly.
In red, we were kind of debating between Bogarden Phoenix and Relentless Assault.
I was going to mention Relentless Assault because it's essentially another Time Walk, Time Warp variant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's also the first time they had done duplicate a part of your turn.
Yeah.
Yes. That's also the first one of those. And I understand you pointing out Bogarden Phoenix. I can't remember if we brought up the Phoenix when we were talking about Legends, the Phoenix that appeared in that set. But there weren't any in Ice Age block that I don't think there were any in Ice Age block.
No.
And this was the next time that a Phoenix came around.
And I was pointing out that this one doesn't even go back to your hand, at least the first time it's reborn literally to the battlefield.
Yeah, directly onto the battlefield.
Yeah. Although it only gets to do that once. So, and then in green, we had pretty much settled on City of Solitude, which gets better every time we read it, and Natural Order. Let's not read it again. It'll be something like a cantrip next time. We got to stop the growth. So
Its future will be so bright we need sunglasses.
Yes.
That's why my mama calls me son.
Oh my god.
But hey, Mike.
Those were the ones I was going to point out too, and I wonder if they would have definitely done it with Natural Order, thinking ahead for some of the things they were going to print in. Tempest, Verdant Force, most notably.
Ah.
See, I was thinking of the worms.
Oh.
Do you remember the uncommon worms that they go and find other ones, and they put them right into your hand?
Well, that was in Odyssey block though.
Yeah, it was way
that
later.
Odyssey?
Yeah.
Okay.
But hey, Mike.
Invasion block?
Did you know that City of Solitude shuts down abilities too?
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, we discovered it while reading the card. We were like, oh my god.
Including mana abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
So,
about
and when you came on, we were obviously because I was talking about Solomon's Legacy.
There's something I wanted to ask you. Did
Yeah.
you all like start to notice like, hey, there's a rare cycle of enchant worlds, and then you got down to green and it was like, nope, no, there isn't.
I don't think we really talked about it.
I had noticed that.
Oh, I didn't notice that there was an enchant world in each other color, even though we picked two of them.
Picked and skipped around some because some were good and some were not.
We talked
There's
about
not
most
one in
of
green.
them.
That's messed up.
Weird. So, but then we were moving on to the gold, and honestly, we were having a hard time. So, we had rejected Breath Stealer's Crypt, squandered resources, definitely corrosion all over the place, guiding spirit, and we're talking about Solomon's Legacy. But is there anything in gold that you feel like could be mythic?
They might have tried to have Firestorm Hellkite as the big. I don't know if they would have tried to have Firestorm Hellkite as a big mythic dragon or Vyashivan dragon as the big mythic dragon.
Probably
Especially
the Vyashivan
since
of the two.
Vyashivan is the only one that feels like it's got.
Yeah, because it also had that Spirit of the Night thing going on.
Yeah, I can never remember the names of those cards, but I think I had only one of them again.
Kiskyu Drake and something.
And the red one.
Spitting something. That's not right.
Wait, was it Spitting Drake?
Maybe. Was it Spitting Drake and Kiskyu Drake?
I don't remember. One was Kiskyu Drake because it was an anagram for Sucky Drake. Thanks, Stark.
Let me just sack the Sucky Drake and go get
I think it was Spitting
Sucky
Drake. Hang on.
Mm,
Okay, let's
right.
go.
Now I really wish I had the chat.
Kiskyu Drake and then Spitting Drake. Okay, so Kiskyu Drake is the one I had. Yeah, it's a 2/2 with flying for 4 that has a butt breathing for a single green, but you can only use it once. And you sacrifice Kiskyu Drake and Spitting Drake to go get your Vyashivan and put it onto the battlefield. Yeah, okay. And the Spitting Drake was the 2/2 flyer for 4 that could fire breathe once.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you put the two together and they merge to form Devastator, except it's not Devastator, it's freaking Vyashivan Dragon.
Yeah.
So yeah, of the two, I can see, between that and the Firestorm Hellkite, I can see them pushing the Vyashivan because it doesn't have cumulative upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
They both cost 6. And one has cumulative upkeep and one doesn't. I realize the one with cumulative upkeep has bigger
trample.
stats and has trample.
Yeah.
I get that, but I did not realize, because it's nowhere here in the visual spoiler, that via Shivan Dragon had the Spirit of the Night thing going on with the, sack these minions to get him, that's pretty cool. And that's another way to try and sell the card. I know when they came out with, was it in Kamigawa, it was like, what, the Unspeakable or the Unknowable or something?
Unspeakable.
Unspeakable, yeah.
It was like, hey, look at that. You cast these 3 spells and you get that, and that's pretty cool. So,
And then there was a cycle of them in Alara block.
Yes, that's right. With the disciples that Yes, and those were mythics. The creatures that got out were mythics. So,
also,
yeah.
Real quick, thanks to the Dead Man 83 for the follow. It also didn't pop on the Streamlabs. I've just reset it again, so hopefully it'll work this time. But hey, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the pool.
But I agree with Stark, because this is where I was coming from. He says, the problem is that if you just look at the Vishivan Dragon and you didn't know it had the combiners, does it look special? And I'm looking at it, I'm like,
No.
No, it looks kind of crappy, actually.
Yeah. But
it doesn't have that whoa factor that Spirit of the Night did.
Yeah.
Like Spirit of the Night was just nuts. You like the art and all of that wall of abilities. All of that is just great. But the Vishivan is like, it's got fire breathing, got butt breathing, and it's really hard to cast.
Mm-hmm. I think even at the time when I finally found out what Vishivan Dragon was, which I think was years after I had seen Spitting Drake and Kisku Drake, my reaction was, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Even back then.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not butt breathing. Sun pants, I think, is what we came up with years ago.
Yeah. Well, this is tree pants.
Sorry, tree pants, because sun pants was because of white mana, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if fire breathing tree pants.
Because that is such a great thing to have together.
There's the name of the episode right there.
Nothing bad would ever happen if you had fire breathing and tree pants.
And tree pants, yeah. So other stuff, we've got Righteous War, which is neat, but not mythic.
No,
I agree.
Yeah.
Mike, what were your feelings on Squandered Resources? Brian brought it up immediately when we got to those.
Kind of like what I thought with Cadaverous Bloom. They didn't understand. The designers didn't understand the resource system well enough and the exchanges between the different resources of the game well enough to recognize that this card was insanely unfair. The problem is it's a design mistake, which means that they didn't understand it.
Okay.
I don't know how, if they thought it was strong, if they thought it was really strong and WoW, they wouldn't have made it cost 2 mana.
Probably. So the
It's
only
just-
things... Oh,
Yeah, it's just like my reasoning is that the core of my reasoning is that it just went so wrong with how broken it is that tells me that on some fundamental level they just didn't they didn't get it, yeah. And it did not stand out to them.
I can see that. But I mean, is this card really all that broken and unfair outside of the one deck? Like, was it that they didn't understand the resource system, or they didn't understand how the other cards would interact with it?
I mean, yeah, granted, it was, what was it called? Natural balance, nature's balance. What the heck was that called?
Natural balance? I think it's natural balance.
Yeah. That really made it completely wild. But still, that's a bunch of mana out of nowhere to suddenly do something with.
The wild! I'm sorry, I just heard Chris Rock say that in my head. And okay. I had to get it out.
Yeah, it represents a bunch of mana out of nowhere. And I know they still thought rituals were fine, but
Dark Ritual is fine, Mike. It's not the
This is
problem.
This represents a lot of mana. If you're willing to, I mean, even on the turn you play this, if you have plenty of lands sitting out there, even though you're giving up your lands, this could easily be like a +5 ritual, +6 ritual under the right circumstances, and you can do a lot with that.
Like play Vyashivan Dragon.
Yes, you can.
Buh. So all we have left in gold is Femerif Enchantress, no, and Pygmy Hippo.
No.
Which, while it's really bizarre and does potentially give you lots of mana, I don't know. Is there a way around that these days without mana burn, where you can just tap all your stuff if you know you're not going to block the Pygmy Hippo, so by the time it hits you, you don't have the mana anymore?
Yeah, if you do it during the declare attackers step, because that check whenever Pygmy Hippo attacks and isn't blocked, that check doesn't happen until after blockers are declared.
Yeah, kind of like the ninjutsu.
Yeah. So if you dump out all your mana during the declare attacker step, then it'll empty at the end of that step, and there won't be anything left when the declare blocker step starts.
Yeah, now that didn't work exactly that well back then because mana burn was still a thing, so
Right.
that was a big win. Like, yeah, just tap it all, go for it. So instead of taking 2, you took 7. I think that means I'm winning. Gold is not great here.
No.
No. It's interesting that they gave the set 1 card for every color combination. That's cool.
Well, they did, didn't they? I didn't even notice that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Still not great.
Huh. All right. Well, let's go to lands and artifacts. Let's do the lands. We've got Griffin Canyon and Undiscovered Paradise. All right, let's go to artifacts.
Yep. I mean, Griffin Canyon is a tribal enabler, which is kind of cool, but okay. And Undiscovered Paradise.
I mean,
No.
basically any land that could tap for 1 mana of any color had a drawback. Usually it was ping yourself, but in this case, Undiscovered Paradise goes back to your hand at the beginning of your untap phase.
Which isn't terrible later in the game, but especially early on. Ugh. That's going to be rough.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you don't have other land drops in your hand to make, then whatever.
it doesn't really matter, but
Uh-huh.
you're not advancing your mana production. And you
Right.
never will with this because it will always bounce itself back. So,
And yeah, Chad is pointing out that it's great with landfall now, but that's how many years in the future? And then Justin says Undiscovered Paradise was awesome with political trickery. You're a bastard.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it waits to go back.
Yeah, political trickery was a swap. Was it just lands?
Yeah, lands.
Yeah, I think it was swap lands. Swap one of your lands for an opponent's land.
Mm-hmm. I guess you could get the same effect from Thawing Glaciers too, because that waits as well.
Oh, you guys are terrible. All right, so
but not mythic.
not mythic. No, let's do artifacts.
All right.
There's the damn anvil, which I'm sure Brian was about to bring up as more traumatic experience.
No.
No?
I don't
The
really have
anvil's
any
pretty
experience.
sweet.
Sweet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For 2, you get no maximum hand size, and you get draw 2 cards and discard a card.
And everybody gets that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be
It's
clear,
like a howling
since
mine.
Dirk didn't say that.
Yeah, it's like a howling mine with no hand size, no maximum hand size.
Yeah, the problem is the anvil was paired with that card.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
have no idea which one you're talking about.
Really?
Nope.
No.
Wasn't that the Anvil of Bogarden to go with the Chains of Mephistopheles, Mike?
Um.
Is that the combo I'm thinking of?
Yeah, that would work. It would take a while to lock everyone down completely, but
Yeah, I mean this was a core
depending on
thing.
how big their hand started as.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Pinball Witch just said, yeah, it's a hard lock, no more cards for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually there are no more.
Eventually your hand runs out. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't keep any cards, and you're discarding one and drawing two, but you're not drawing two because of the damn chains. Oh my god. So the chain says if a player would draw a card except the first one they draw in a turn, then that player discards instead. And if the player discards a card this way, they draw a card. And if they don't discard a card this way, they mill for one.
Right.
So you get your first draw, and then any draws past that, you have to discard and then draw.
Mm-hmm.
But the Anvil says...
There's a way to break out of it with instant speed removal.
Correct. Provided you have it and can cast it. Oh, I guess with instant speed, as long as you draw it before you have to discard. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the Anvil says you draw two and then discard one, except you don't draw two and discard one. You draw one, and then you discard, and then you draw, and then you discard, and then you discard, and then you don't draw, and then you quit. So with Brian bringing up the traumatic experience of Breath Stealer's Crypt before, I really thought he would bring up the Anvil for that interaction there, because I know Corey pulled it on us at least once.
He did? Wow, what an asshole.
I don't remember that.
I don't
You
remember
sure it
that
wasn't
either.
one of those other? You sure it wasn't one of those other guys who would come out very rarely to hang out and play cards?
Oh, maybe then. I just
know
remember
who I'm
that this
talking about?
happened to us at least once, and we all had a miserable experience.
It was a couple guys you knew from the physics department or something. I can't remember their names.
Stupid physicists.
I don't even remember guys in the physics department that played Magic, except
Maybe
for...
I'm getting that wrong. It was one big guy and one skinny guy.
Oh, okay.
They only played with us a few times.
Yeah.
I was going to mention the Sands of Time.
Sands of Times is interesting.
That's a word for it.
I don't know if it's mythic, but it definitely is interesting.
For 4 mana, it's an artifact. Each player skips their untap step. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player simultaneously untaps each tapped artifact, creature, and land they control, and taps each untapped artifact, creature, and land they control. Blah, 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 blah.
So if it's tapped, it untaps. If it's untapped, it taps. During
everything
each
just changes.
player's-
Everything just changes state. Well, artifacts and creatures do, and lands.
I don't feel like this card had any sort of strategy to it. Like a lot of mythic stuff, it feels like that there's a strategy to it being a mythic card. This one does not feel like that. This feels like, let's do this and see what happens.
Yep.
Like this feels just like a chaos card.
It is a little bit, but if you have something where you're just tapping out and using everything every turn, then you can get the most mileage out of it, because then all that stuff is also on your few turns for you to use again.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that this card can be very great. It kind of feels like to Fairy's Puzzle Box to me, in that it feels like it's there to sort of create pandemonium, but the people who can build a deck around the pandemonium are the ones that, are the ones that will win.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've directed the pandemonium to their benefit.
Yeah.
While everyone else is just going, I have no idea what's going on. I'm trying to do this, but this is what's happening, and now I'm dead.
And there are Johnny Mythic cards. I think Sands of Time would make a good Johnny Mythic card.
Yeah, this one was on my short list.
Mm-hmm. It's a funny little anecdote. Sands of Time had to get errata not too long after it was released, because as printed under the rules of the game at that time, it was kind of broken. Because so artifacts that didn't have, I can't remember all the details and it doesn't matter, but short story. I mean, the short version of the rule is that artifacts that only had continuous abilities, basically, there might be some other loopholes in there, I don't care, would shut off if they were tapped. So you'd play Sands of Time, it would mess with your opponent, and then before your turn starts, you would tap Sands of Time, and you would get to take your untapped step normally, and everything would be beautiful. Because how was it written? Because it didn't use the upkeep as the way it was written. Let me just double check the printed text. Yeah, that's right. Because the printed text didn't use the upkeep to do this stuff. The printed text says each player skips their untap phase. At the beginning of each player's turn, untap each tapped artifact creature and land he or she controls, and tap each untapped artifact creature and land he or she controls.
So you would just have something to tap your Sands of Time.
Yes.
Buh.
And they had to give it errata saying that it didn't affect itself. Or, yeah, something like that. No, wait. I can't even remember. They fixed it somehow.
Yeah, because because the way the rules worked back then, if you managed to tap it before your turn started, it would only affect your opponents ever.
Yeah.
Which is not what it's supposed to do. That's pretty funny. So what? So what else have we got?
And there were also weird periods of time during Mirage Block where the rules were... They tried to fix something and accidentally made the rules extra stupid, like over a weekend, and they had to go back and fix it again.
Yeah, they used to just issue errata. Just...
Mm-hmm.
And like that's one of the reasons that you would buy Inquest was because in every issue they had a little box in one section that was like, hey, here's what's changed with Magic Errata. Of course, given how long it took to print things, it was possible that wasn't even accurate by the time you got the magazine, but whatever. So what else do we have in artifacts?
Teferi's Puzzle Box was the only other thing I had in mind, really. No, wait, that's not true. I had one more thing.
Okay. So, hey, Dirk, you love Teferi's Puzzle Box.
Yeah, I love being the victim of it. So Teferi's Puzzle Box for 4, it's an artifact. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts the card in their hand on the bottom of their library in any order, then draws that many cards.
It's pretty sweet.
I love it.
Yeah, because Brian built that stupid deck that just
Underworld
ate us all
Dreams.
alive. It was Teferi's Puzzle Box and Underworld Dreams.
Teferi's Puzzle Box means everybody draws a lot of cards all the time.
Those were good times. Didn't you do really well in some sort of something with that deck?
Yeah, he took it to F&M and won.
Which, in retrospect, is really weird because it's definitely geared toward multiplayer. Like, a lot.
Was it just F&M? I thought you took it to something other than that. Like some sort of something. I can't remember now, obviously. But if you're not remembering, then I'm probably wrong.
I don't remember taking it to anything more competitive than that, honestly.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I don't remember it happening.
I still play the puzzle box in my, I think it's in Carevec.
I think so.
Because I also have things like Underworld Dreams and assorted things like it in that deck just to facilitate plinking everyone down to death. Ha ha ha. Oh yeah, and there is some folio art. Look at that. I think that was Faye and Says that was asking about that earlier. I can't remember now though. Someone in the chat was asking about folio art back in the day.
Oh yeah, like this. It's very small. This is Kaja, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
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 All right. So what was the other thing you had in there, Mike?
Mike.
The other thing I had was Wand of Denial. And I was trying to remember whether we said Zur's Weirding was mythic when we were going over Ice Age. So Wand of Denial, it's an artifact, cost 2, has an ability. Tap, look at the top card of target player's library. If it's an on-land card, you may pay 2 life. If you do, put it into that player's graveyard.
Yeah, Zur's Weirding just happened, right?
Yes, just happened.
But Wand of Denial you have to activate.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And I think Zur's Weirding Gatherer. Was it just a draw step draw or every draw?
I can't remember.
Players play with their hands revealed. If a player would draw a card, they reveal it instead, then anyone else can choose to pay 2 life to have them dump it. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, Zur's Weirding can look at every draw. But it works on both people. It works on both players.
Yeah. Wand of Denial is just a one shot at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess I just looked at it as a conditional millstone, and I realized that you do have some selection there. But
Isn't it so demoralizing when someone uses something like this and looks at the top card of your library and then they're like, "Nah, leave it there."
yeah,
Like, what? Why? No.
That is the worst feeling from Jace the Mind Sculptor.
It is.
When they fate seal you and they're like, "Oh no, you can have that," and you're like trying to top deck something great, and you're like, "Just let me keep it. Just let me keep it."
Yeah, I would rather that they move it with Jace the Mind Sculptor, because then the next draw might be they just leave it there. Damn it! Like,
Oh, and even though it's mythic, I want to mention Snake Basket because of a funny little thing that I read in Inquest one time that sticks with me to this day. You know, they would put deck lists in there of just weird decks, and one of them was you were trying to make a bunch of mana to dump into Snake Basket to make a bunch of snakes, and they had Pygmy Hippo in the deck, and there were ways to make it unblockable so that you could run in and hit with the Pygmy Hippo and have the Pygmy Hippo eat all the opponent's mana and then throw up in the basket. And all the snakes pop out.
oh,
Poor Hippo.
So Snake Basket costs 4. It has an ability, pay X and sacrifice the basket. Create X/1/1 green snake creature tokens. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So, Snake Ball.
so wait, what's the difference between that and Serpent Generator?
Serpent Generator has an activated ability. It only makes 1 at a time, and the snakes also give out poison counters.
Oh, it's a poison snake. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 4 mana untap to get 1. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Snake Basket is definitely more entertaining. Having a Pygmy Hippo vomit into it. Huh. All right then. Moving on.
Moving on
Well,
to
essentially,
what?
that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Diamond Kaleidoscope is really cool. Look, they're
Yeah.
Oh crap! What are those? What are these now? That you can just sacrifice for mana treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Except these are creature treasures. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's not
It's
anywhere
cool.
near Mythic.
Yeah, but the problem is that I played with it before and felt how clunky it was even back then.
I was saying anything Mike has played with.
It's got to be pretty bad.
So yeah, it costs 4, and for 3 and tap you get a prism, which is a 0/1 artifact creature, and you can sacrifice a prism token to make 1 mana of any color. Oddly enough, if someone kills your Diamond Kaleidoscope, you can't anymore because that's not an ability on the prism. That's an ability on the artifact.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, neat.
And the reason, I'm sure the main reason they didn't just make it work that way is because that's not the way it's written on the original card. And since this hasn't ever been reprinted, they try to make the Oracle text as close to what was written down on the original card as possible, unless it just flat out won't work.
Yeah, and back then, I don't think they put abilities like that on tokens.
No, like you could get tokens with banding or flying or something like that, but not an ability like this.
Yeah. That's relatively new tech compared to 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the only other thing is Triangle of War, but that's really cool because 1, it's the card that is the expansion symbol,
Ah.
and 2, because it's a 1-mana artifact. You pay 2 and sacrifice it to make one of your creatures fight an opponent's creature. Wow.
I know.
Which is really sick, considering fight wouldn't become an actual thing for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Because I think before this, Arena was the only thing that
I think so.
did that, and that was that never appeared in booster packs. That was one of those promotional cards you had to cut a coupon out of the back of a book and mail it in,
Yeah.
and you didn't even know whether you were going to get that one.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I didn't think they were fixed. Maybe they were. I don't know those details. I'm just guessing. I thought that they were a little random, but maybe they weren't.
So there you go. I mean, it's not mythic by any stretch. It's barely rare.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't think it is rare. What's this? Oh, in Vintage Masters, it was uncommon. Good, thanks, Vintage Masters. Online only nonsense.
Still, I mean, 3 mana for a fight spell that any color can use. It makes sense why it was uncommon in Vintage Masters.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else to talk about then, gents?
Not to my knowledge.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up before Mike disappears and before Dirk dozes off.
Yeah, for my final thoughts, I'd kind of talked about it before, and everything is just I've been enjoying getting the chance to get some new reading material and reading up and everything. I actually gave up playing video games earlier this week because I wanted to read. Oh no,
Heresy.
not that.
Wait, you gave up playing video games like for life?
No, just until I get done with my reading, and then I go on hiatus again because I'm waiting for more stuff to get written so I can read some more. So, but yeah, I've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts recently, and it was just nice to take a little bit of a respite and read some old BattleTech stuff, or new BattleTech stuff technically. But yeah,
Nice.
That's my final thought.
All right. Next.
And then I also got to head out.
All right, night, Dirk.
Night, Zerk.
Good night, everybody.
Zerk has to go face Captain Sicko. Bah, 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 bah.
So for my final thought, um, there's a young player who just made who's just the youngest player to ever make day 2 of a Grand Prix.
Dana Fisher.
Yes, and I love that because not only do I think it's great that she's doing well, but I can point to her for Sam and say, hey, here's someone who's literally the same age as her. She's 8, Sam's 8. I can say, hey, here's someone that has enjoyed the game and is doing something that is very hard for any player to do, be it if they've been playing for 3 years, 6 years, 8 years, 12 years, So kudos to Dana. And kudos to everyone else that did well at the event. But especially proud of her for being able to do that, yeah.
Also, Abram Goldstein, or Goldstein, I don't know which, because I've never seen his name written out, or said out loud, only written out, is 11, I want to say, and made the top 16.
Oh, wow.
Playing, crap, was it the Mono Red Phoenix deck in Modern? I think it was. It wasn't Burn, as was originally reported, but it was close to that. So I think it was the Mono Red Phoenix deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's 11.
Very cool.
Yeah. Both of those came up for this week's Monday Night Magic. So pretty sick.
Yeah. Kudos, guys. Kudos. And that's all I got. And it is also late. And I'm an old man. So I'm going to say goodnight to you guys.
Night, Grandpa. Well, how about you, Mike?
Man.
I'm
gonna have to hang. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hang around here Monday morning because a technician is coming out, and I just have to be around in case he needs to come in here or talk to me about something or whatever. Because when I was talking with the support people at AT&T, they asked me troubleshooting questions, do this, do that, have you done this, have you done that? We'll run a test, and they figured it's a problem with the line. It's not a problem with my equipment. So someone's got to come out here and work on it Monday morning.
Until the technician comes out and finds out that it's a problem with your equipment.
Yeah, basically. And it's so annoying and I wish I had. I don't know what I could have. Maybe I should have pressed a little more when I was having problems a month or two ago. When, after all the troubleshooting steps, the suggestion was, I think it's a problem with your DSL filter. So get a new one of those and see if that fixes the problem. And it seemed like it might have sort of did, but I would still have weird disconnect problems every now and then. Not like tonight. Definitely not as bad as it was earlier this evening. And of course, like right before I finished getting through the menu system for customer support and get connected to a person, my internet comes back up. But thankfully, I didn't just give up on the phone call and keep going, because then I'd still have the unfixed problem that the technician's going to come out and look at. But whatever. It's fine.
You made it for the end. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
As far as the podcast goes.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, yes. Internet issues, when you really need to be on the internet for something, are the most frustrating thing ever. It's like when I'm trying to stream and my internet decides, you know what? No. It's like, I've been here all day with internet that works fine. All of a sudden, now that I'm trying to stream, you're like, nah, no internet. What the... Like, it's one of those. It makes me start swearing immediately. Like, immediately. Anyway. So, should I go ahead and wrap us up then?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, then. Hey, we stream both podcasts, Monday Night Magic and The Mana Pool, on twitch.tv/The Mana Pool. I also stream the video games here and other things, like when Mike and I do the TMP Nerf report, which we did last weekend now.
Oh, yeah.
That all gets streamed here on twitch.tv/The Mana Pool. Yay. And then some of that stuff goes up on youtube.com/The Mana Pool. That's where other stuff goes up, including today, where the a Chewy vlog about One Sleepless Night went up today, and it's fairly comical now. I recorded it right after I'd been awake about an hour, maybe, when I recorded it, which means after a night of very little sleep. So I was amazingly together for that. When I was watching it back for the editing, I was like, wow. Huh. I really thought that I would be more like that, but no, I actually seemed to be with it, even though at the time I was distinctly not with it. Maybe once the record button is clicked, I'm able to focus somehow. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hey, that did work. Thanks for the sub, 10th Tech Priest. For 7 months. Sick. But anyway, so yeah, the video game stuff and eventually the TMP Nerf report and the Chewy vlogs, all that stuff goes up on youtube.com/The Mana Pool. Yay. And if you want to help support what I do with all of this podcasting and YouTube videos and streaming content, the most direct way to do that is on Patreon at patreon.com/The Mana Pool, where you can become a lifeguard. Yay.
Yay.
Lifeguards get all kinds of perks, like, for instance, early access to YouTube videos and Mana Pool episodes, and access to the odds and ends, all the stuff recorded before and after both Monday Night Magic and the Mana Pool, which are uncensored and unfiltered. And as a matter of fact, earlier today I got 3 of those up? Yeah, I think it was 3. So, hey, I'm slowly getting caught up.
Nice.
And the highest tier, the Mythic Lifeguards, get the sponsorship shout out on both podcasts and on the end screen for all of the YouTube videos each month. So I would like to thank our Mythic Lifeguards: Kim Ho, Andrew Hunt, Al, Lance Delicious, Team You Hellas Are You, Connor Kennedy, John Morris, Alex Gonzalez, Jeff Spencer, Stuart Slaw. Wait a minute, I scrolled and lost my place. There we go. PJ McMullen, Sophia Brattain, Casey, Fayan Says, Danny Liao, Jason Doan, Cody Buckowing, Jake Jansons, Jason Kaus, Brian DeLucci, Stark Maximum, Keith Moody, John Parker, Violet Moon, Aleph Cat, Dan Holm, Bartle, Mike Millerburn, and the Beastfather, Aaron Goodwine. Whew. So thank you all so very much for your support. I couldn't do it without you. And with that, we'll be done. This episode was not as short as I expected, but that really shouldn't surprise me at this point. So, yes, thank you all so very much for listening or watching or whatever. And go play some Magic.